Hello, I'm trying not to disturb my kitty, so I'm gonna be quiet. It's been a hot minute. Hello. I've been very quiet because my kitty's sleeping. It's been a while. I like what I've been doing. I've been trying hard. Hi. I've been good. I've been doing a lot of art. I've been doing a lot of art. And now I'm doing more of it. Overall, I've been good. Art is good, yeah. If I can produce art, usually it means my life is going well enough that I'm having a good time. Because the first thing that goes when I don't have a good time is doing art. Frustratingly enough. I'm doing. This is real people. I have photos of real people. Okay. How are y'all doing? Suddenly you're both here when it's been very quiet, but it's okay. I've been also very quiet. PC call with my friend editing a single video for YouTube. Oh, nice. PCs are really nice. Resting up, suffering from burnout because of too much drawing. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see many people's stuff anymore. I'm not on Twitter. Only on only see people on Mastodon now. I check every once in a while, but it's hard to keep up. I hope the burnout goes better. Spent 4 hours and now my first 2 minute intro is done. Oh, yeah, editing takes a while. It's kind of frustrating because I tried to do like editing content at some point in time, but it's hard. Hello, Loversology. Is that how you spell it? Or say it? Loversology. Editing hard. It is very hard. Choose I do live content. I did some of the Pokemon videos, but beyond that, it was too hard. My artist, my best friend. Why I prefer streaming over making videos. Like, I like the idea of making videos, but in terms of like actually making content when you're already tired, edited videos are the first thing to go. Because you see a lot of like big YouTuber or people that were YouTubers just switch over to doing a lot of streaming because they can just make more content that way and people will consume it that way. Gumshoes. I think how I want this. This lady has very nice hair. Very beautiful hair. What is this dubstep Kirby music? Pink hair. It's not just the pink, it's the way her hair is like curly. That looks pretty good. I mean, pink is also good. Pink is also supremacy because I mean, look at this. Look, 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 look. Thank you. I sounded like Beetle. Thank you. Beetle from the Wind Waker. Did you say this the same cadence in the in Breath of the Wild. Or does he say anything? She has a little bit of like brown roots coming in, so I thought maybe this would be interesting. Gumshoes. I won't do that. If she wanted pink hair, she wants it. I think I might change the actual coloring of it because this one's more reddish. My pointer, yeah, it's the Slum Tools pen and tablet hand. I just got rid of the hand and made a smaller pen because the fucking Spud pen and tablet are really, really large. They took up way too much of the screen. But then people really like having a pointer to see stuff. So I compromised and just made a smaller version. It isn't anything particular, it's just a thing. I was just like, a pointer thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's alchemical. Who knows? But yeah, the Spud tools are pretty cool. Pretty cool because you can customize a lot of it. I haven't used like the controller overlayer much recently. And I'm not using my model right now. I have a model. I just haven't felt like using it recently. Guess Barrel, you may have not seen my model. Yawn. I forgot I was gonna shade those. What are you? Oh, what am I using to pixel? I am using Pixel Edit. Let me write that. Using Pixel Edit. I think I used it way back when we did stuff still. Thank you for following. Yeah, I think I use Pixel Edit. I've been using Pixel Edit for like fucking 8 years or something. Something ridiculous like that. Foil, yeah, even though the developer doesn't have time anymore. I go like that. Just the darker eyebrows. Oh, and then what was I gonna do for the clothes? Have any notes on the clothes? Smiling or laughing. Dyed hair. No, just gonna make this thing. She had a black jacket. I wanted to wait until I did a lot of them to send them out, but I feel like I should at least send out some of them. Maybe. Oh, I forgot to explain. These are portraits for charity for those affected by tornadoes in the South and Midwest, because a tornado hit less than 1 mile away from my house. So I'm fine, but a lot of my neighbors are not fine. So I wanted to do something to help. I guess if I have all this room, I can do. Yeah, okay. I got these two done. That's good. Or no, I need like shadows. Hold on. I keep forgetting shadow under hair. They have the same smile. They're one of them have the same smile. Thank you for following, Ikuti. Why does that sound familiar? Why does it sound very familiar? Reroll the ads are on. Well, fuck you. Fuck you, Twitch. Oh, there we go. I like that. From Mastodon. Right. Okay, got it. I don't remember names super well, but I'm just like, wait. I know this. And then you guys know each other. That's cool. Alright, there's those. Hiccup. Mastodon's fun. I like Mastodon. I mean, it has to be fun because it's all I use now, but I like it. I think you're asking them, but yeah. Free yourself from the chains of Twitter. I don't know, everyone's situation is different. Multiple social medias for each. I was tired of Twitter, so I just fucked off. I've been messing around. I just started Kara.app or something. It's more portfolio looking site. It looks like you can like post stuff too, but you have like a portfolio page and stuff. I haven't been posting on my Tumblr, but I have been looking at it. All right, the bird. Hold on, let me open up that page. I'm just ignoring that there's a bird there. Charlotte. Where's the... There we go. Charlotte. Let's see. The pigeon should not be included. Okay, that's good. That's good. I read that. The pigeon should not be included, so I will not include it. Tumblr's been a while since update as well. Back to Insta. I don't want to deal with Facebook and its stupidity. Because to get back into my Facebook account, it wanted me to get a webcam on my face and turn around in all directions for it to read my face to confirm it was me. And I'm just like, no, fuck you. I'm just not gonna have Facebook. Like since Instagram. I do use this. Well, I mean, Instagram is Facebook. They're the same related company. Old people tarot door now. Yeah, I believe it takes actually making a Meta account still, even if you're on Instagram. She's got like kind of fishbone braid. Oh, it is a braid, it's just like a fat braid. Not very doing a good job holding shift, huh? Promise it makes sense to me. There's also what's the site called? Co-host. I haven't checked it in a while just because the UI of the site's kind of bad. Yeah, they're trying at least, but it takes way too long to be able to post anything, and the UI is bad. So, yeah, but yeah, I like Mastodon, and it seems so far there's not really much of a VTuber presence to a degree, but .art is nice. Oh yeah, just making hair. Mastodon has many apps because it's a bigger thing. I use the one called Metatext. I use that one. You'll still have to sign up with something, and I think Mastodon.art is a good one to sign up with. But yeah, there are one, but the official Mastodon for iOS or whatever, or Android or whatever, really sucks balls. So I like Metatext better. It is for Mastodon, it's for Fediverse, etc., but it's just a different version. Because it's free and open source, so anyone can make an app too. There's also was it Pinktodon? Pinktodon? It's just like a Mastodon web app, but it's pink. it's a pink shark. Let me see if they have that Pinktodon. Pinktodon. Mass. I see them type a lot or post things a lot, but I don't actually. Nope, I don't know how to find it. They talked about how they legally had to change it because if you make a Mastodon like thing, you need to change the name of it. But yeah. So if you sign up, I feel like there'd be like a primate. You'd either do vt.social or mastodon.art as an actual websites. But the thing is, YouTuber site is not really developed at the moment. There's people posting. There's definitely posting, and there's like a little subsection of Fetty VTubers. But if you're looking to get the numbers or whatever, it's not gonna happen. I have better numbers than Twitter for my art. There's that at least. But it means something different on Mastodon. Like, even without having the numbers, I was still getting a lot more attention on my posts. Like, people talk to me and stuff, which is nice. We'll just chill and talk. And I mean, sometimes we're not chill. We talk about things like AI and shit like that, but for the most part, it's pretty cool. Mastodon.art is a bigger one, but it has good moderation. Which is I appreciate. Cause some people like it's too block heavy. They block too many things. I'm like, good. I don't want shit in my my feed. And you can just block the entire uh instance of all the NFT people who've put themselves in a category nicely for you to block. It's like, oh, thanks. Bye. I'm just rambling now, but it's literally 4:40 a.m. So you know. See, it's red. I don't have any like reds. Really. Let's sticks from that color. Cool. Love sharing colors. I do, except I don't sometimes when I actually want it to look different. I like skin color, so I make a lot of things skin color like. But the problem is that all the colors start blending together. Alright. Alright, this is gonna be like the little ending itself. Gonna wrap it off. And around with the same pixel over and over again. Oh, just blue eyes. Okay. There we go. That's nice. Feels a little bit better. Shouldn't have an earring or anything, right? Yeah. Alright, that's 3 in wow, 3 in 45 minutes? Wow. That's less than it's like 15 minutes per. I've been doing like 20 to 30. Should these being like 15 minutes? Pretty fucking good. Then again, I already know that my brain works better at in 3 to 5 a.m. Just the other one. And they're like, if I can get 3 done, it'll be good. I'm like, wait. Wait. I actually have. Alright, who else do I have left on this? Finish Charlotte. We have Sugai, and then we have 2 Final Fantasy something characters, whatever they're called. They're Viera. The Final Fantasy 12 Viera. I really only wanted to get at least 3 done, but I just it hasn't even been an hour. Huh. I guess maybe I'll do the guy. Give myself a challenge. This person's yeah, green. Silly. Green. Oh, I changed the color of that. Hold on. This is the okay. It's a little bit lighter and yellower. Hold on. Oh, even okay. I need this color. This is a good ramp. It's just not the part that I need it for. Good. Okay. It's darker green. There we go. Also got black eyebrows. They look childish. I don't know if we should make the eyes even bigger if that's just like art style. I love Kirby music. The elfy ears, or not. They're not elf. They're like goblin ears. Definitely looks like a goblin. You guys can't see the ref, but it has like real people in it, so I don't want to show it off if it has real people. Ow. That's the only thing is that I'm doing so much art that my hands are getting a little tired, but thankfully I have a vertical mouse. So it's doing a lot better than what it would be. It's just a little stiff. It's a little stiff at time, but it could be 10 times worse. But I have wrist pads and vertical mouse. Oh, I miss using vertical mouse. I kind of had to because I had stuff to do and my hand was being destroyed like every fucking day and I couldn't deal with it. Also, thank you. Still, maybe experiment with making the eyes bigger. But for now, I'll just get the shape bees in. I've tried to find a vertical mouse that has like programmable keys, but the one I got was like really shit. So I haven't been using it. I've been using a different one. Because I want like to play Halo and stuff, but all of them don't let you come with keys. They're like programmable keys, as in you can program the back and forwards, and that's it. And just like I need more. I need more. I want a gamer vertical mouse. Take care of those hands. Yeah, sure, I'll get a drinks. Alright, so we'll have to take a break after this one just to give my hand a break. But I should be able to finish this one, and that's the most I think I did 4 last time, but it took me like 2 hours to do 4 last time, so. It's also like faster the more I do things. Which I just finished a commission tonight and then been working all yesterday, so it's adding up. Okay. It does have hair that comes out. This kind of sticks up more than that. Gotta go do chores now. Thank you. It's nice seeing you again too. Hope chores go well. I'll put some yellow highlights. Hello, Weavy. How are you? Oh, sorry. I have to go to bed. I mean, I shouldn't go to bed at 5 a.m., but I might go back to bed. At least lay down, which I will because my posture's getting kind of bad, but I'm almost done. Almost done. I've been doing good. I've been doing a lot of art. A lot of art. This is gonna be covered up by the. Actually, let's just take this wholesale because it's kind of the same thing. I haven't been playing like a lot of video games. I've been doing lots of art. Oh, horns. That's what I'm missing. Horns. I'm like, there's something huge missing here. It's little hornies. Shouldn't say that. That's not what I want. Yay, art. And these are charity portraits. Portraits for tornado because a tornado hit less than half a mile from my house. So I'm doing something to at least help with the damage. I should do the thing. Oh, it did do the thing. I didn't mean to. Oops. Oh. Tornado? Yep. A tornado hit the gas station near us. This thing got torn. Its little roof got torn down, and then we were out of power for 3 days. But we had an RV. We have an RV, so it can it's able to supply some power, or at least run a generator. Doesn't feel right. That's better. Alright, that's... Oh, okay, let's experiment with making Sugai's eyes bigger. Absolutely break this. Wow, that actually works a lot better than I thought it was going to. Wow, that actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. So this is bothering me. Some like color balancing. There we go. Hello, Spider-Versity. We are probably about to wrap up in just a moment. But thank you for following. Teleport is pretty even, the bald ones. Yeah, I've got some bold ones. Stand in for how many left I need to do, I think. I like how this one came out specifically. I like that one. Good eve. It is 5 a.m. 5:02 a.m. here. Oh. I should probably look if there's any notes on this person before I go into it. Sugai. Oh, it's Philia. Nope. No, it's just my lovely plant demon. Okay. I wouldn't mind, usually I am on here in the evening. That's fine. I mean morning. That's perfectly fine. Blah. Let's see. Damn it. I feel like I could do more, but I don't want to push myself, but I feel like I could do more. We're only, yeah, only got to an hour, so 15. Wow, I did it every 15 minutes. What the fuck? Why is my brain so good? Ass crack in the morning. I did this. So that's that one. So there's these two that I probably want to do together at the same time. Ugh. Oh. Oh, my bitrate slowly went slower, down further and further, and then up and then down. God, I don't know what's with my bitrate and the good brain hours. Yeah, I don't know what's with my bitrate and Twitch being awful. But it's also my Wi-Fi cards not working very well, so that's probably also part of the issue. Let's see. These three were not made for charity, and these three were the examples. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 I've done so far. I've done any image sets, like theme things? Yes, I have done, let's find it. I have a thing called item assets. So I've done all of the Breath of the Wild food. And then I did it again, but I made them little. I made them Bobby. What else did I make? I don't think that's only the real ones that I have. I have like a few other things. Like these ones aren't really as cool. They're just crystals. Just different colors. Do I have anything else? Pride badges. Breath of the Wild. Then I also have, this is the same thing, but then it kept working and now I have little food. Oh, and this is Pokemon food. Pokemon food. I don't have a lot in this one, but I'm making food out of Pokemon. Magikarp, Execute, Alcremie, Applin. And then this is the one where I made the little, like really small, and 16 by 16, and then a fairy food, which is eating the fairies, and then a bunch of like normal food. These goldfish crackers, not really hard, it's kind of hard to tell. Actually, I quite like item sets, and I'm about to do it soon. One of my commissions is 12 magical books. They're 18 by 18, so the Twitch emotes. I will be doing more of those. I like doing sets of stuff. Even though for here you can tell like I did these 3 with a deep outline, then I went and edited mine. And as soon as I did these, I had a little bit of outline, and then I just gave up on the outline. Just made them a certain color. But that yawn's probably indication that I should probably be done, even though it's only an hour. I got a lot of work done. I've done a lot of work. I finished a commission tonight, so I've actually done a lot in a few hours. So let me not push it, and I will take a break. But thank you guys for coming out. Wait, I can raid. I can press the button, and then it'll tell me to raid. Is there anyone I want to raid? No, I didn't mean to press that button, but that's fine. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to talk to someone new. I'm like, I remember to raid. Then I'm like, shit, I don't want to talk to someone new. I'll deal with it. So I'll raid at a not ass in the morning hours time. But bye bye.